Hello, it's Leah and
Wait to the music. It's got to be a certain place.
no, it's hello. This is Leah and Lou.
Hello.
Sign your name across my heart.
Hey.
All right, you can turn it off now. I don't know. This is all new to us, but it's good. Well, we're back again, and we wanted to just go and follow up some more on our first 5 years of marriage.
First five.
First five. So that was from 1989 to 1994. We covered a lot, but we did not talk about our time in Illinois when you were still in the military.
Yeah.
But also, we had William at the time, but we also, that's when you began working in ministry. It was not full time, but it was best time of our life. I think it's as far as for me in ministry was when you were the youth minister.
And so when we left New Jersey, like we said in the last one, Will was like our first son was like 6 months old, and again the military moved me out to Illinois. Actually, I wanted to go out there so I wouldn't go overseas because I was kind of hot for a remote, and I would have had to gone overseas by myself, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to leave you and William by yourself for a year. That's just something that I never really wanted to do, which even kind of parlays into our life now, because I'm not really one to leave a lot and go on long trips or things like that. That just never was something I wanted, really was interested in doing. And so when we went to Illinois, it was kind of strategic, so I wouldn't have to. I took a job in the headquarters, so I wouldn't have to go on a remote. But yeah, so then from then we went. We were in Illinois and at the church there at Centerville in Illinois, and got into.
Well, we made some changes both too there too. That was a change in how we viewed viewed some things. I guess I made.
Oh yeah.
I guess that was.
It was eye opening.
Yes, I don't want to say freedom, but it was. Yeah. It was just a different experience when it came to.
The church.
So.
Because my background is very, very low key, very, very, very conservative. Came from a very conservative, church, and going out to Illinois at the great Centerville Church. We love it with all our heart, and it was liberating.
Yes.
And I think nothing that was wrong or anything. It was just a different style and experience that helped me come out in ministry and in life, really, just even as a Christian,
and even me, because I changed because I had
cut your hair.
No, even before that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of the big changes, but it was just the people that were pouring into us just gave me the ability to be able to walk in my truth of who I was.
And you cut your hair.
Yeah, I did. I was trying to be like Halle Berry, trying to be cute. Now I got this big stuff again.
But it was long. It was long down to here and everything. So
yeah, that's what he thought he liked.
But so we were in Illinois, and we got into youth ministry, and basically I had always wanted to go into ministry. Even before military, after my first 2 years of college, I went into the military, and when other guys went into ministry. But it was something I always wanted to do since I was like 12 years old. But I just took that path, and sometimes, God put you on a path in any, whatever that path may be. It may not be where you were looking to go, but you end up there, and then you're kind of glad you were there.
Right. We learned a lot during that time.
We learned a lot. So, what are some of the things we learned there?
What are some of the things we learned? I learned that it's easier to be me, and I was given that. I guess I don't want to say freedom, but I was able to see that that's the best way to operate in this life, is to be who you are, and not what other people sometimes may expect of you, or even that you think that people expect of you. They might not even care about, what I'm doing,
or the ideal, or the how you think people want you to behave, or how we even think, how I thought, ministers behaved, and we of course we had great examples in, our minister at the time and his wife, but that was them, and sometimes we can try to model ourselves after others, which in some cases, kind of helps you kind of develop in who you are.
Right. Because they're the ones who helped us.
Right. Yeah. But I think it was for us to really find out, who we are, and not necessarily live up to expectations of others, or this is what a minister looks like, this is what a minister dresses like.
Like wearing suits everywhere you go.
Yeah. Well, that was when, after we left Illinois and went back to Jersey, then I was really, minister 24/7. Wearing dress slacks and collared shirts
to picnics
all the time, to picnics and whatnot. Thinking that's the way.
And that's okay if that's who you are, but you can wear jeans, and you were comfortable with wearing jeans. But you had to get there.
But we had, you have to find yourself and be true, to yourself. Well, let's talk about some of the changes in Illinois, because you were away from your family for the first time,
right?
And how that kind of affected you, and even our relationship.
I know. I think it was. I know for me, it was a necessary, and I think that God so designed it that I would be away from my family. I love my family with all my being, but it allowed me to fall in love with Loruna.
Who you fall in love with?
With you. Because you slide your name across my heart.
That's not my name, yeah. But, so we spent the first, again, I think we spent our 5th anniversary out there.
Yeah, we went to Memphis.
Illinois. We went to Memphis for our anniversary. And I think we left William
with a good family.
With a great family. Yes. One of the only families that ever watched him when he was young. The Owens family there.
Yeah.
And so, and that, and that was, as new parents, it was hard, leaving him with anybody, really,
Right.
Remember the time when we were on our 1st or 2nd anniversary.
And William was with my mom.
And he was with your mom.
Who raised me.
And we went to, was it Washington or something?
Baltimore. Ate Chinese food in Baltimore.
Ate Chinese food in Baltimore. And then rushed back and came back. We were supposed to spend the night or something. We came back the same night because we had to come back.
To be with William.
To be with William. We were new parents, of course.
Yeah.
And so I think you had a question, though, the first.
We had one of the, from our first video, someone put a question. I asked the question, how do we make it through the bumps, I think it was.
Through the first year of dating.
Right, the first year of dating.
Married,
Yeah.
And it was a question about some of the bumps or obstacles
that we had to overcome.
We had to overcome during that first year of dating prior to getting married. And I think I know what they were asking. And so I'll just say that, we were two young people, I think we were,
we had a heart to be pleasing to God.
Yeah, we had a heart to be pleasing to God. And, we loved each other, still do, of course. But, back then, we were infatuated with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we still are. Yes. But, we wanted...
It's better than infatuation.
It's better than infatuation now, yeah. We wanted to please God, that was first and foremost, and young people wanting to please God. That's always in the back of our minds, and was everybody perfect? And then, are we perfect? No, we're not perfect. But we had the desire to want to please God. And any times that we got out of hand or too close or whatever, we would have to repent as Christians, and you know, and really try to stay that course.
We stayed. We always went to church. I remember.
Oh yeah. That was the base.
We went to remember that time we were at a marriage thing, and what were we doing?
We were
holding
hands
with our book,
with the church book.
The
we were
song
in church.
book.
We were in church.
No, the songbook Brother Brown was doing the meeting.
Okay. Yeah. And we were holding hands underneath the book.
The songbook.
The songbook. But I think again, we had a desire to be pleasing to God, and for us, having a long drawn out engagement just wasn't going to work.
No.
Because we were close. Our close. We were close.
We spent a lot of
time together, and and with that, comes temptation and things like that. And so for us, we because again we're young and passionate and whatnot, and so but I think we always stayed focused on like God and our church, because I was active in the church even when I was in the military.
And we listened to people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We listened to people because I need our minister at the time. I think people. He was encouraging us to just remain faithful, and
right.
to try to do the right things at all times.
Right. Yeah. And I think for the most part we did that. We did that, and so that's why I try to tell younger people today, if you love each other and you find a way to make it work, find a way to have a for us having a long drawn out 2 or 3 year courtship, it just wasn't going to work, because again I wanted a wife and she wanted a husband. And we had things we wanted together.
To do husband and wife things.
We wanted to do husband and wife things, and so for us it wouldn't have been good to prolong it, and because the longer you do that,
the more the temptation.
The more the temptations,
right.
are, and so we made it through that, and we've been hot ever since. Okay. All right. Anyway.
Well, we haven't got that far yet.
Well, okay. All right.
But yeah. But I guess we can talk more about the next 5 years, I guess. But those, I just think about when we did the last video, I was thinking about, we didn't cover a lot, because I think, not a lot, but there was things that I was thinking about that we could have discussed about balance, because Lorena was working full-time in the Air Force, and we had a son, and I was a stay-at-home mother. So there was a lot of different things. Money. Yeah, balance. Money was a big thing, because we had to learn how to budget and take care of stuff, and do without, and and I remember we used to try to be like the Joneses.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Even when we were in the military, and I was thinking about going into ministry, again, you had this persona, this idea of this is how you're supposed to look, this is what you're supposed to drive, these are the clothes you're supposed to wear,
this is where you're supposed
this
to
is
shop.
where you're supposed to shop.
Not at JCPenney, but back rack.
Yeah.
We could not afford nobody's
back rack, and
$50 ties.
And all that kind of stuff, and I bought one or two.
And gave them away.
And that was it. But but so that was
and just balancing that work life, because I know that Lorena was tired lots of times when he came home, because he would work maybe like 12 hours or overnight, and we had a little boy, William. He would get, maybe Lorena might get an hour of sleep,
and then he'd come busting the door.
Yeah,
and
so he would jump up and come back out there and play with him and fall asleep while he's playing with him, but he was trying to do the best that he could for his family, and I so appreciate that.
Yes.
And then one of the things too, when we were out in Illinois, is that before Lorena, we left Illinois or went into the ministry full time, when you were getting ready to get out of the military. I remember them asking Brother Smith, asking me, did I want to support Lorena in where he was going. And I think that that's important in any marriage, is that you have to be honest, and if you don't want to do it, that's where you have to be truthful to yourself, because I think that would have added more stress to our life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the love, respect, whatever we had, for each other, and the idea of helping me in the ministry, going into the ministry, leaving the military, and being able to, being someone who stood, who did stand by me, especially even taking the pay cut, that we took.
Our security.
The security.
We had a house. We had certain things, but going into the ministry, we thought we did lose some things, but we gained so much more.
We gained a lot. We did gain a lot in experience in life and friends and family, and just relying on each other. Of course, relying on God, but relying on each other.
And that just even God will give you what you need, and other people even. That talks about, I remember, because I think one of the important things too is family time. I think first of all we have to focus on each other, but then as your family grows, you still have to, give some time and attention to your children. And so we were blessed to go on, after we had the twins, we were blessed to go on our first vacation together.
And that was
because someone blessed us with.
Right. And we were in New Jersey, because we left Illinois in '95, and I went to preach. We went to preach in New Jersey,
and that was what year?
And that was '95, the end of '95.
Okay.
We started out that year, January '96, pretty much. But that was when we went.
Yeah, so that's our next 5 years, Jersey. 95 to 2000. So, I just wanted to add a little bit answer that question, and then add some other thoughts that I remembered during our first 5 years. But we'll go start maybe our second 5 years, which would be 95 to 2000. And that's when you went into the ministry full-time.
That's when I went into the ministry full-time, leaving, my career, or, over 10 years in the military, leaving that behind, and, going into, ministry full-time in New Jersey. And all of the trials and tribulations and things that go along
with going back home.
Because that was your home.
Yes.
And so we had it. So I was a minister at the place where you
and where we married.
Where we married, and the place
where I grew up.
That you grew up and were baptized, and everybody knew you as Little Lia. And from your family on down to the members there in the church who knew
and I was still fairly young. I don't think I was 30.
No, yeah, because I think I was just 30 going back there. So
we were still fairly young, and now taking on the responsibility of being the minister, and me assisting him in the ministry.
We had one son at the time,
right, and just being able to find myself there. And I thank God for placing us in Illinois with some examples of how to move and operate in ministry, being myself. And I wasn't always, I guess, perfect. I don't want to say perfect, but I didn't always do the right things, even in that. And I just, thank God that Loruna allowed me and helped me to grow.
I think we helped each other grow, and watching me, do things in ministry, and going along, with me, on those days of ministry, when I did everything from cut the lawn to
pick up the people
and drop off medicine and
grocery store shopping,
all those things that I did as a first time minister, just doing everything and being everything
While wearing a suit.
I ain't always wear a suit. I always wear a suit. I, usually had slacks and a shirt on, but that's the way, again, ministers dress. That's what
and trying to help and bless as many people as we can. We could. And that's what we still try to do. You know, we try to bless each other. We try to bring out the best in each other.
Right.
We don't always...
don't always get it right.
No.
And we didn't get it right, especially back then. You're talking, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Definitely didn't get everything right then. And there were, of course, in ministry and life, younger married couple, there the trials and the growing and some of the dark days, there of just ministry work and dealing with people and dealing with difficult people. And then, having to, come home sometimes and not always seeing eye to eye about, everything. And, money was tight. And those, some of those days. But, again, the church was always, good, to us there, and always, made sure we, they provided, what they could and what they did. And so we never, missed a meal.
We always had somewhere to live.
Sometimes the meals were sardines and crackers.
Never
but
that. I always cooked you a good meal.
You always did. I was just being funny there.
I know. That was funny. But yeah, and then I guess that's in the next 5 years. One of the other things, which finances is always a big thing in marriage. It can really break or make a marriage, and how you handle it.
How you handle your finances.
So we had to learn how to, I went back to work when William went to school. But soon after William went to school, that's when I got pregnant with the twins. And me working while, we always wanted me to stay home when we had our children. But financially, it just didn't make sense for me to. I think I did try to work.
You tried to work after, because it was always, again, when the boys were small, you stayed home, and then when they went to school, then you went to work. And so by the time Will went to school,
the boys came. And that was a rough year.
And that was a rough year. That's like the second 5 years.
Yeah, that's what we're on, 5 years.
The second 5 years.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the worst year, then we can go. The worst year.
It is the worst year was our 10th year anniversary. We had just had the boys. We were just back in New Jersey.
And it was worse. When I say worse, it was just tough. It was difficult.
It was difficult.
Not because we had the boys or anything like that.
No, I love my children, but finances,
finances, transitions, stress of, ministry and people and situations,
just changes,
and all at once, and having the twins, so all of a sudden, three kids, and
because I remember one of the things is, I don't think I never really held you, but during that time when you did leave, when I had to go pick up Wesley from the hospital by myself, because you had to go do some ministry with somebody up at Princeton.
Yeah. I mean, those were days that
things you thought you needed to do.
Things I thought I needed to do that I probably just should have, stay my butt home
and help me pick up the babies.
Help you pick up him.
But
at that particular time.
But that's the way you handled the stresses that were happening. Because it wasn't just happening to me; it was happening to all of us, both of us. And that's one of the things is that each of us handle things differently.
Yeah.
So maybe that was your way of dealing with your stress.
Well, again, just thinking that these are things that ministers have to do, or I had to do, that particular time, and so.
But guess what? The boys are what, 22 now?
22 now.
And we're still here.
We're still here together.
Yeah. I wanted to leave, but I didn't leave. I think I told you I was leaving. Well, I left as far as the porch.
You left as far as the porch, and you came back. You couldn't do without me. But like I said, that was a tough time. A lot of adjustments, and relationships, marriage. You have to deal with the adjustments,
the changes
that come, and not be so hardline and so focused on this is just the way it is. You know, people grow. You know, families grow.
Things happen, things change.
Things you know do change, and you just have to you know set it in your mind. You know, one of the things, I don't know if we talked about it last time or whatever, but one of the things I know I had in my mind that, you know, divorce was never going to be an option.
No.
You know, I mean, holler, cuss, whatever you got to do. You know.
I never did any of that.
No, you never did that, dear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's your name? But in the back of my mind, I just knew, you know, for me, I just knew that, you know, that wasn't going to be entertained. You know, no matter how mad or upset or how tough or how difficult things got in life, ministry, family, you know, that was just not going to be an option. You know, for me, you know, for us.
And now we can look back on those difficulties, and I think that's important too, is to always keep laughter in your relationship, because now we can laugh in bed, we can laugh during the day, and some of the things that we had to go through.
Mm-hmm.
When we were going through it, we weren't laughing,
Nothing
but now
was
we
laughable.
can
Yeah.
laugh at it. So, you know, if you just push through it and just know what you want, know who you want.
Right. And, you know, and with that too is, I always tell, you know, younger couples, you know, forgiveness is so, you know, so powerful, because they're going to, you know, I'm not always perfect. You're not always perfect.
I think I'm a little bit more perfect than you are.
A little bit more perfect than I am. And, you know, I think, but I think that has to be a component, you know, going through the years, you know, learning to forgive, and learning that, you know, we're all, you know, pretty much fallen, and we're all trying to make it.
Right.
And, you know, keeping your vows and those things like that. And
love each other, respect each other, laugh a lot. You cry, laugh. You know, just deal with all your emotions that you have.
Amen.
So that is it, I think, for 95 to 2000. We may come up or think about some things a little later. But I'm enjoying this. Hopefully, you know, we're helping somebody see. Probably going to do more than 30 tips for 30 years.
How do you get the music?
Yeah, so what say you, Mr. Gilbert?
Well, it's time for us to sign off.
Yeah, it's time for bed.
But you know, I think that second 5 years was really about change. You know, because
and
growth, because we went from the military with, you know, a house and everything, you know, to, you know, we had a house there in Jersey, you know, the church provided, you know, but just a different lifestyle, you know, and
a lot of different changes
happening.
Jobs, family got larger.
Finances,
working, not working.
Yeah.
And be able to make it through those adjustments.
Yeah, that's you know, that's life, and so.
And we'll get to the next 5 years, which would be 2001, 2006. But you all...
There's a lot of change there.
2001 to 2006?
Yes.
What happened then?
We moved to Virginia.
Okay. Yeah, that was a good time. All right. Signing off.
All right.
Love, love, love.
See you next time.